welcome to Focus on B, the video series where I spent about 20 or so minutes playing and talking about a game that I've got some thoughts on, and this is the ever so controversial, and yet, as of late, beloved Sonic Unleashed. This game got hell when it came out, but now, well, some people still don't really like it much. Some people really love it. In fact, there are people who will still claim that it's like the last good Sonic game, even though Frontiers exists and Shadow Generations and etc. But you know, opinions. Hey, but we can all agree on one thing: Jason Griffith is a god. But anyway, so why am I playing the Wii version? Didn't they make a recompiled project for PC? Actually, they did, yes, and it's awesome. It runs. Oh, I haven't actually tried it, but I imagine it runs super well because I checked the system requirements and they're stupid low. I don't know why I was surprised by that, because it's a game from 2008. I just figured that maybe because it's Sonic Unleashed. It's like the Crisis of Sonic games. Like, it's the most graphics everything. But no, it's not too demanding. It's still a game from 2008 that was primarily focused on consoles, so not surprising. Anyway, so with that aside, though, why am I playing the Wii version? Because I prefer the Wii version. So let's talk about progression. So Sonic Unleashed on PC, I say on PC, the HD version, so to speak, even though this is also HD, but whatever. That version of the game uses medals as a collectible that you find throughout the stages. That's how you unlock levels. And oh my god, okay. I can't stand it. I've played through, before they actually ported the game to PC, the fans, because they're insane, I played through the PS3 and the 360 version. Well, specifically I played through the PS3 version because I couldn't figure out how to import custom save files in RPCS3, and at that point, Xenia wasn't good enough to emulate the whole thing. Now it can, so even if I'm not playing the PC version, I'll be playing the Xenia Canary version with a custom save file, so I don't have to actually play through all the levels. But yeah, I actually had to play through everything on PS3, quote unquote, and it was hell. I fucking hated it. Honestly, finding the sun love medals in the nighttime levels, it was the worst. I don't. It's not even that I hate the Werehog gameplay that much. It's just I don't want to have to scavenge for shit in Sonic when I'm not playing as Knuckles. It's stupid. The Wii version handles it much better. In this version, you have missions and objectives and stages. So for daytime Sonic, as you can see right here, there's that S rank that was flashing red. I just barely made it. Depending on your rank, you get more or fewer medals. That's how it works. It's as simple as that. And the same thing happens with the Werehog. And here's the thing, though. The medals aren't even necessary to progression. That's the crazy thing. They don't actually unlock anything. The only thing you need, I mean, they unlock stuff, but additional content. You only need those keys, those tablets you get from the bosses, I think? Because at no point during my several Wii playthroughs, yes, I've played it several times because I just like it much better, during my several playthroughs of this version, I've never been hit by a paywall, so to speak, by a wall of, oh, you can't progress because medals. And that's just so much better. I cannot stand the medal system in the other version. It cripples the game for me, because it means that I'm consciously anxious and on the lookout. And before you say, we'll just learn the levels, this game's got a lot of levels, actually, especially considering that it's both night and day. There's a lot of stuff to memorize. Really, I can deal with realizing that some games are better played with more knowledge of them, with prior knowledge. I understand that, but when it comes to a Sonic game, I don't want to have to fucking memorize where to scavenge in the levels to find stuff. I just want to play. And this is so much more playable. This is the version of the game that plays more. I don't know if it plays better necessarily, but it plays more. And I actually want to talk about the way modern Sonic... Oh, damn it, I said it again. Daytime Sonic, damn it, Generations, plays here compared to how he does in the future games. Or specifically, the fact that he's different in the Wii version and PS2 as well, compared to future installments in the Boost series. So the thing about HD Unleashed is that it's the first of the 3D Sonic games to have the kind of boost scheme that we've come to understand as being the staple of modern Sonic. That's also in Colors and Generations, and then kind of in Forces and Frontiers and Shadow, but they're a little different there, but still. They feel more derived from something like Lost World. But regardless, though, this is obviously different. This isn't how Sonic plays in the HD version. I really like that. I like this different take on the way that he controls. Well, at that point, it wasn't really different. It was just new. Because you gotta understand, this was like the first one. Sort of. Because, you know, there was Rush, and also Secret Rings was kind of a boost game, but it's not really a boost Sonic game. Don't call it that. The first boost Sonic game. It really isn't. Yeah, you have the freaking gauge, which lets you boost, but it's not really the same thing. So as you can see, the boost meter is actually split up into pieces. And this totally changes the dynamic because you find yourself not boosting as often. You think a lot more consciously about when you want to boost and why, as opposed to just having it be Sonic's default state of movement. But that also means you get to listen to the music a lot more about the EQ put on it to make it... Damn it, that's HD training right there. I was hitting what is in this game the stomp button to homing attack, but in reality I should have been hitting the jump button because, you know, HD, that's how it works. Okay, I keep getting freaking... If I seem a little absent-minded, it's because there's like a synth pad in the music right now. The music's absolutely fantastic in this game. We all know that. It's a Sonic game. But there's a pad in the music that sounds like my freaking phone's ringtone, and it keeps freaking me out because I keep thinking that someone's going to call me. Anyway, that aside, though, what about the overall pacing? So I already talked about the medals and how much better they are handled here. I guess they're not really handled at all, so to speak, because they're just not mandatory. I think that splitting the Werehog levels into multiple sections was also for the better, because it gets pretty freaking exhausting just going through a super long stage. And I like how... if I recall correctly, why do I not remember the Werehog having lives? In fact, yeah, that's the thing. The way this game treats lives is different. So in Unleashed on the HD version, lives are treated in a very conventional way. You know, you just have... Damn it, I totally missed the S rank. You just have your lives that you collect and you lose them over time and you get them again, blah blah. Whereas in this version, lives are handled like attempts of a level, so to speak, because they reset and you actually have to find places to permanently upgrade your number of attempts, so to speak. That's kind of cool because it changes the way that it works, and you don't feel like you have to grind quite as much, although this version is nowhere near as difficult, I find, as the HD version. Like, the HD Sonic Unleashed is actually pretty tricky. Let me go ahead and just check out whether or not... where is it? Apotos? Let's go to Apotos. It doesn't really matter. I want to check out one of the nighttime levels to confirm, because I swear to God, it's going to keep bugging me throughout the rest of this video. To confirm, as you can see, the game's split up into missions right here. I like this because it's a fun way to expand upon each of the game's elements while also slightly tutorializing certain things. This is a much more, I guess, beginner-friendly version of the game, sort of. Like, those were the tutorials, these are the actual missions now. It's a way to get more content out of the game without actually making more content, although I still don't get why Missouri and Empire City aren't playable. Space restraints, possibly? Time constraints? That's also a possibility. Anyway, let's go ahead and skip to, like, the first real level, Moonlit Town. Let me see. So, does the Werehog have lives at all? Because I distinctly remember him not having lives. I just remember retries. Oh, he does have lives. Oh, that's annoying. I like how he's all wobbly like he's from Quake or something. I just noticed that this game has the freaking Quake engine, Unreal Engine wobble. Look. On the model. Maybe it's just the emulator, but oh, that's funny as hell. Wow. The Unreal Engine wobble in Sonic Unleashed. I'm not actually playing this, by the way. You know, like, I don't hate the Werehog combat. I think it's actually fairly enjoyable. I played my fair share of God of War when I was a kid. You know, because that's the most appropriate age to play God of War, of course. I had it on my PSP. So that's like the only God of War game I'm ever gonna play and have ever played. I'm not really interested in newer ones. I don't actually want to play this, though. And, you know, I enjoy, like, hack and slash beat-em-ups, like, well enough, but I don't play them much. I do still prefer the way this game is structured overall, though, compared to the HD version. Again, I've played it multiple times. I would never even consider playing through the entirety of Sonic Unleashed, the HD version, again. Ever. I really hope that when I eventually test out the... Because I've already got my hands on a perfectly legitimate ISO of the HD version for 360, so I could literally just download and install and try out the recompiled project right now. I just don't really feel like doing it right now. But if I do get around to doing it, I really hope there's a way to, like, swap save files, because I don't want to actually have to play for the entire game. No fucking way. Or anything. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the community has actually made it so you can just instantly unlock stuff. really, I wouldn't blame the fandom for doing it, because they probably know no one wants to play the Werehog. Or at least I don't know. Maybe everyone secretly loves the Werehog, and I just, oh shit, and I'm just out of the loop or something. I'm supposed to like him too. Well, I don't care if I'm supposed to. I don't. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, this game does this really cool thing with the 3-2-1 where you actually have to press the button at the right time. It's kind of like in a racing game, like how in a Mario Kart clone, where you have to like tap the accelerator right before you, or there's a specific time when you have to do it. I think in Sonic All-Stars, it's like after the 2 mark, free 2, and you hit the button and go. As for the level design in Sonic Unleashed on Wii, while it's not quite as extravagant, I would say, as the HD version is just a fucking roller coaster. It's a movie, but in a good way. I don't mean like, oh, you just hold one button down. No. There's a lot of gameplay to this game, okay? It's not just some cinematic hold up on the analog stick and that's it. No. It's not like that at all. But it's incredible on HD. It's one of the most exhilarating just 3D platforms you're ever gonna play. Ever. Seriously. Only rivaled by something like Generations, or even Shadow Generations, actually. That game is fantastic as well. It greatly exceeded my expectations. I've talked about it at length, I think, in my other videos. And so the level design here is a little more constrained, but I feel like it's overall a lot more accessible. As I said, if you want to get into Unleashed and you're not sure if you can deal with the HD version's bullshit, play this version. Yes, it's not the perfect version of Unleashed. Honestly, I think the perfect Sonic Unleashed would be some kind of weird fusion between this, like the Wii version's daytime levels and the HD version's daytime levels. Just playing both back to back. That would be awesome. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the future that's actually possible. You know, outside of just having both games open at once. You know, the the recompiled project and Dolphin open at once and just swapping between them. Because you could do that on a good enough PC. You could have both running at once, no problem. But that would be a little funny, to be honest, to do it. But still, because I will admit, I understand why they designed this game the way that they did with the Werehog. Because, yeah, I cannot imagine paying full price, right, back in 2008 for a game that is like 7 levels that are about 3 or so minutes long and a couple bosses. Again, if they had fused both daytime experiences, if they had made just a conjoined version where you just go for, I mean, yeah, it would be weird to have like an inconsistency, or maybe just introduce another character. Instead of the Werehog, introduce some other one of Sonic's friends that has this gameplay, the Wii gameplay, and just call it a different character, and no one's gonna complain because it's similar enough to Sonic, right? Just like how no one dislikes Shadow because he plays just like Sonic, generally speaking. Whereas some people sometimes have a problem with Knuckles or Rouge or, who else? I don't know, Gamma, Big the Cat, right? Let's go do another level. And I get that because the gameplay is so different. You could have totally done that. But anyway, back to the level design. Let's wait until we're actually in the level for, you know, when I talk about the level design. It's more straightforward. That's not to say that it's less reaction focused. I think that Sonic Unleashed on the, I keep saying on the HD, on the 360, whatever, the HD version, the big boy version, that version of the game definitely relies a lot more on trial and error and memorization. There's a lot of moments in the game where you just have to know what's happening, and that makes sense. That's part of Sonic's DNA. Oh, especially Eggman Land. Fuck me. I've tried Eggman Land on HD. I never want to do that again. I don't think I've ever completed it. I would play through like a certain portion of it and then just stop. I think I only played through enough of it to check whether or not it crashes on Vulcan. And a Vulcan with Xenia, and it doesn't. Most of the game is better played in Direct3D 12, but you want to switch to Vulcan in the config file. Again, if you don't want to play the recompiler for whatever reason, it's excellent, though. You should just play it anyway. But yeah, if you're playing Xenia Canary, you're going to want to switch to Vulcan when you get to Eggman Land. I think it changes the performance a little bit, but you don't crash, so that's nice. But that's it. I just played it enough to find out whether or not it'll crash, and it didn't. So that's it. I don't actually ever want to play it. Whereas I have, in fact, completed Eggman Land several times in the Wii version. Let's talk about that, actually. Yeah, in the Wii version of Sonic Unleashed, well, and PS2 and Wii, Eggman Land is split into separate stages, and it's not as ambitious, it's not as cool of a concept as switching between both Sonics on the fly, like in HD. That's a really cool concept, but I don't think it lends itself great to a super fun level because it's just so fucking long. At least here you just get one actually decently enjoyable daytime stage with, well, it's not actually a daytime, but it's the daytime style stage with regular Sonic. And then you get like maybe one or two, I believe. I'm not exactly sure how many there were because again, the nighttime levels are more than the daytime levels. And that's generally why no matter which version you play, you do feel like you spend more time as Werehog Sonic because the levels are either the same number but longer or the same length but there's more of them. And I don't know, I can't say I hate that entire... I do kind of wish there was only one, but at least look at it this way, you get a lot of content. Like, the funny thing about Sonic Unleashed, despite the fact that it doesn't actually have a super large amount of the typical Sonic content, it's one of the... Honestly, until Frontiers was the last Sonic game to feel totally fully featured, if that makes sense. Because Colors is great, but it's pretty short and minimal feeling in certain ways. Generations is great, but it's also very short. Lost World is okay, and it actually does feel quite featured, but it has some issues with the design. Forces was super short, even though I do kind of like that game. And then finally, Frontiers was like, oh yes, we got a big boy game once again. But with Unleashed, yeah, this was the last big boy game of the Sonic games for a very long time. Let's actually go ahead and check out... No, I don't want to do I don't want to do Eggman Land right now. Let's just do Shamar or something. And just kind of leave it at that. Whew, so, yeah, Sonic Unleashed is weird because I like it a lot. I love this game, but I don't love this game at all. It's the definition of like a love-hate relationship. Because I don't play through this game very often. If I'm going to play through this game, again, it's going to be the Wii version, 100%. But even still... nothing compares to playing through, just blasting through a level that you've practiced in the HD version. Like, holy shit. It's a religious experience. Like Shamar, not Shamar, what was it? Rooftop Run on the HD version of Sonic Unleashed is my own personal religion. That and Jungle Joyride on that level is so fucking hard. It's so weird to think that, yeah, like, Sonic games used to legitimately be quite difficult. Well, to be fair, I haven't completed Frontiers. Maybe that game gets pretty hard too. I'm not really sure. In fact, actually, Shadow Generations has a couple levels which are pretty tricky. Specifically, the final two stages. Those ones are fucking hard. I can't believe I'm saying that. Like a recent Sonic experience being difficult. Because Sonic games are weird with their difficulty. Because of the way the ring system works, you're never going to be dying of the things that'll typically be killing you in games where it's like, you know, collisions with stuff, hitting a thing and dying. No, because rings. See, oh, I still have 60 rings, so I can take a lot more hits. It's not that. In Sonic games, you will always be killed. If you're going to die from something, it's always either an arbitrary time limit for some reason, or a bottomless pit. I don't think I have ever accidentally been killed via touch damage in a Sonic game. Although, come to think of it, it's possible that that might have actually hit. You know what? No. You can cut to probably my Sonic Mania playthrough or something. I bet that actually happened. I wouldn't be surprised if I've gotten killed via touch damage in Mania. Probably, because the 2D ones are a little harder to avoid stuff in. Also, this was the first Sonic game to introduce the ever-so controversial 2D sections of the modern Sonic segments, which as of late, the newer Sonic games have been handling in an interesting way. They've started completely segregating them. So with Sonic Frontiers and Shadow Generations, now the 2D levels and the 3D levels are completely separated. So like in Shadow Generations, you got Act 1 that's fully 3D and Act 2 that's fully 2D. And I think that's kind of cool, even though I do miss going between the two. I think there was a really, really awesome sense of... There's a cool sense of dynamics when going between 2D and 3D like that. Yes, I understand that in Generations' case, a lot of people criticize it for being redundant since, you know, Classic Sonic exists. Oh, especially in Forces, when like half the levels are 2D and you already also have Classic Sonic. I kind of get that, true. Although it's not to say it, I just realized something though. Sonic, Frontiers and Shadow Generations are not the first Sonic games to do the whole segregation of 2D and 3D. Lost World did it too. God, I suck at this. Lost World did that too. Lost World will have levels that are exclusively 2D or exclusively 3D. So that's something to keep in mind. but I don't mind it. I think it's a really fun, it adds a cool little element, a bit of variety to the stages. Honestly, I miss it a little bit. I hope they don't completely why do I... Oh my god, why am I so fucking bad at this? Jesus. Okay. I've never seen the game over screen in this game. What the fuck? Okay, whatever. Recording curse. Just call it the recording curse. Anyway, doesn't matter. We're already finishing up anyway. So point is, I don't mind when Sonic games do 2D and can mix 3D and 2D. I think it's kind of cool. It makes the levels a little more dynamic and fun. But I understand why it would seem a little bit pointless sometimes, and I don't mind the way it's handled in newer games. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say about Sonic Unleashed. It's a much smoother experience on the Wii. I gotta say, it's a much better experience on the Wii overall. Unless maybe there's like, someone makes a mod for the recompiled project that totally restructures the game, which probably exists by the time this video is up, because I make these way in advance. So maybe there is a mod like that now, who knows? But unless that's the case, yeah, I'd still recommend you try out the Wii version first, even if you can't get it legitimately anymore. Who cares about that, honestly? Just fucking get it however. Sega aren't gonna put it on Steam, and if they do, it's probably gonna be the HD version, most likely. Unless they feature both, unless they make some kind of compiled thing. Oh, that'd be so fucking cool. Just like put both together, sell it for like 20 bucks. That'd be sick, actually. And just hire the people who made... Seriously, hire the guys who did the freaking recompile project, okay? Sega, hire these guys. Please, do that. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of Focus on B. The video series where I spent about 20 or so minutes playing and talking about a game that I've got some thoughts on. And this has been Sonic Unleashed, every console under the sun, 2008.